Governor Matawale praised the state civil servants' May 2020 salaries. 216 new COVID-19 cases recorded in the country. President Buhari urges governors to work closely with PTF on business. Oil prices near $35 on demand rise, and in the international scene, French firm donates 20 ventilators to federal government. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. My name is Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. The Zamfara State Executive Governor, Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawale Maradon, has paid the state civil servants their May 2020 salaries so that they can celebrate the forthcoming 2020 Svtv with ease. The payment of the May 2020 salaries followed the governor's directive to the State Ministry of Finance to ensure that all civil servants receive their salaries in time so that they can celebrate the Svtv with ease and happiness. Governor Matawale said his administration is determined to improve the welfare of the state civil servants in appreciation of their hard work and their constant support to his government policies and programs. He further said that civil servants are the backbone of his administration's success, who deserve to be applauded and appreciated. Governor Matawale also assured of his government's total commitment to prompt payment of salaries and wages throughout the tenure of his government. He said the recent subsidy he approved for the purchase of rice, which payment was spread in 4 months, is also another demonstration of his gesture to the workers, calling on them to continue to partner with his government in order to take the state to higher levels. He also commended the state civil servants for their patience during this trying moment of COVID-19, which has affected the whole world. Matawale also charged them to observe all the COVID-19 protocols as directed by the NCDC for the purpose of having a disease-free state. Since the commencement of the payment of the May salaries in the state, ATM machines and other places of commercial transactions have been overwhelmed by the patronage of the happy civil servants over the unexpected development. It could be recalled that since the interception of Governor Matawale's administration, the civil servants have been receiving their salaries as at when due. Zamfara State is the only state that paid the May 2020 salaries on the 18th of May and without any salary cut for the purpose of improving the living standard of its workers. The wife of Maru Local Government Chairman Hajia Binta Salisu Isa Dangulbi commenced the door-to-door distribution of palliatives to the women of Maru Local Government area. Hajia Binta explained that the gesture was aimed at cushioning the economic hardship faced by residents of the area who have been at home in compliance with the directive by the government to curtail the spread of coronavirus. Hajia Binta Dangulbi added that measures have been taken to ensure that the relief materials reach the beneficiaries. Also speaking, the coordinator of the program and the state PDP women leader, Hajia Aisha Waziri Maru, said the distribution of the palliatives is part of the Women Empowerment Program under the office of the First Lady, Hajia Aisha Bello Muhammad Matawale, in her efforts to cushion the effect of the stay-at-home order due to the coronavirus pandemic. The relief materials included rice, sugar, macaroni, spaghetti, wheat, and millet. President Muhammadu Buhari has authorized the commencement of a major military operation to sweep bandits and kidnappers out of Katsina State. A major proactive operation by special forces, which details are being kept secret, is now in progress to replace the reactive strike against insurgent camps. To give a full effect of the exercise, a planning team is already in the state, selecting targets and making preparations for the execution of the unprecedented operation. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonikasen, who has been majored in issuing official statement on the ongoing exercise, briefed the President on the plan he intends to flag up shortly. President Buhari expressed sadness over the recent attacks in the state, extended his condolences to the families of those killed, and prayed for the recovery of the injured. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) confirmed the discovery of 216 fresh coronavirus cases in 10 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). It listed the state and the figures as Lagos 74, Katsina 33, Oyo 19, Kano 17, Edo 13, Zamfara 10, 8 each in Ogun, Gombe and Borno, Bauchi and Kwara 7 each. 7 fresh cases were recorded in the FCT, 3 each in Kaduna and Enugu, as well as 2 in Rivers. The national tally is 6,176, with 1,644 patients discharged and 191 deaths recorded. The Sokoto state government is seeking to partner with the federal government on strategic ways to fight the coronavirus pandemic. Sokoto State Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal stated this on Monday when the ministerial task force team visited the state. Governor Tambuwal during the visit said that the state will continue to do its best in partnering with relevant stakeholders to defeat COVID-19. He said that covering the pandemic is still a work in progress, while stressing that he is waiting for the report from the ministerial task force team on the best way to fight the virus. In his remarks, the chairman of the ministerial task force, Dr. Nasiru Sani Gorzo, said the team's visit is in line with the directive by the Federal Ministry of Health. He commended the state task force on COVID-19 but reiterated the need to have a strategic plan to fight the disease. He also described as phenomenal the rapid response team, saying that it is one of its kind in the country where one political ward has an ambulance attached to it. As the number of health workers have been exposed to coronavirus COVID-19 cases increases, health facilities, especially private hospitals, are adopting virtual or video consulting. That way, they minimize the need for physical interaction between doctors, nurses, and their patients. Using mobile devices and other related gizmos, doctors can observe patients, diagnose their medical condition, and give prescriptions which can be gotten at pharmacies. The latest report from the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives revealed that over 2,000 Nigerian health care professionals, especially nurses and doctors, have been exposed to COVID-19, while about 15 healthcare professionals have lost their lives. This is because of a lack of personal protective equipment (PPE), especially when attending to asymptomatic patients. Speaking with the nation, the medical director of Alliance Hospital and Services Limited, Dr. Otabo CU, said, "Necessity is the mother of invention." Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it has become important to reduce the physical contact with patients because it is not everyone who has COVID-19 that will manifest symptoms. Kano State Government has reviewed the lockdown imposed by the federal government and extended on Monday by 2 weeks as prevention for the spread of coronavirus. Special advisor on media to the governor, Salihu Tankoyaka, said after the meeting between the governor and religious leaders in the state, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduji has accepted and approved recommendations by a selection of 30 Islamic scholars in Kano for the government to allow Friday prayers to hold as well as Eid prayers. The governor gave this directive after a lengthy consultation with the Islamic scholars and other government officials at the Africa House in the government house. The statement added that this means that the relaxation of the lockdown on the days of Mondays and Thursdays will continue, but Friday prayers will also be allowed as well as Eid prayers, but traditional Eid celebrations in the state will not be allowed. The imams have also been directed to ensure that everyone wears a face mask as well as the use of sanitizers and washing of hands, and also observe spacing as well as making brief sermons and observing social distancing. The state government has also inaugurated a committee that will oversee the distribution of hand sanitizers, sanitization equipment, as well as face masks, among others, to imams of Friday mosques in the state. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has described Cross River State as deserving of its coronavirus-free status. NCDC stated this on Monday during a verification visit to the state. The leader of the NCDC team, Dr. Omobolanle Olowu, lauded Governor Ben Ayade for his leadership in the battle against coronavirus pandemic. The federal government commends the action governor of Cross River and his energetic team who started their response in January when others still lived in denial. The Cross River State deserved to still be without a case of coronavirus. The governor was proactive in shutting down borders, screening visitors and suspected cases, and initiating the No Mask No Movement campaign in Nigeria. Mrs. Olowo also expressed delight at the level of compliance with the no mask, no movement policy of the government. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the governors to work closely with the Presidential Task Force (PTF) on COVID-19 to engender better harmony in the daunting task of checking the pandemic. The President spoke during an online meeting on Monday with the Governors Forum, disclosing that the PTF had briefed him on the next step in the national response to the pandemic and directed that they work very closely with the governors. President Buhari said the pandemic was beyond technology, power and resources, noting that countries that had all those were recording highest casualties around the world. The President called for caution and stressed the need to continue to educate and persuade the people to accept the reality of the situation and do all that is necessary to stay safe. The meeting also discussed economic and security issues, among others, with the governors commending the President on the leadership and direction he has given the country in combating COVID-19. The war of words between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, over the Integrated Personal Information System (IPPIS) is getting hotter. The federal government has revealed that ASU members underpaid fee as UN pay tax running into billions of naira over the years. Reacting to criticisms from ASU over discrepancies on recent salaries payment, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation on Monday disclosed that the rate of tax being applied by tertiary institutions was not correct, leading to underpayment of payee tax. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation noted that because of the underpayment, state government made claims on the federal government to pay the differential arising from underpayment of tax by these institutions. Owing to pressure from the state government, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation said that the federal government has paid several billions on behalf of these institutions because of their underpayment of the pay-as-you-earn pay tax. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation categorically told ASU that the request by the tertiary institution unions to formalize tax evasion through Integrated Personal Information System (IPPS) is not only untenable but also unpatriotic request to violate extant laws on tax. Regarding the demand for bank verification number (VBN) from ASU members before they can be paid, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation said that about 1,180 ASU members failed the BVN test, and details have been forwarded to the universities for necessary correction and updates. 99% of Nigerians are aware of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said on Monday. The minister, who quoted a latest poll on the pandemic, also said 91% of the population has acknowledged the preventive measures. He spoke during the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Control in Abuja. According to the latest NOI poll on COVID-19, which was conducted this month, the level of awareness across the country about COVID-19 is now above 99%, meaning nearly all Nigerians are aware of the disease. Whereas 28% of respondents said that they believe they are immune to COVID-19 in March, and figures has now dropped to 26%. 91% of respondents said they are aware of the different preventive measures. Hand washing is now at 87%, up by 10%. Use of face masks is at 85%, up by 22%, and social distancing is at 55%, up by 43%. The poll, however, stated that stigmatization remains a concern, as 81% said this has remained a concern. In the March poll, 78% said they are not willing to work with people who recovered from the virus. 81% said they are willing to work with the people who recovered from the virus. The National Youth Service School (NYSC) has commiserated with the family of the late Major General Edet Apam, retired, who was the fourth Director General of the NYSC. Late Apam, who was DG from 1984 to 1988, died last Saturday in Oyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. In a statement by the NYSC's Director of Press and Public Relations, Mrs. Adenike Adeyemi in Abuja, the agency said Apam's administration led to the introduction and institution of NYSC flag and anthem, which are still in use. The statement said that APAM's administration also established the NYSC farms across the country, which enhanced the community development service of core members. It said the NYSC DG Brigadier General Svtv Ibrahim and the management received the shocking news of the transition of Major General APAM retired. He was a consummate administrator who repositioned the scheme on the path of growth during his tenure as National Director, the nomenclature of the leadership of the NYSC until June 16, 1993. Success has come the way of Nigerians stranded abroad as a result of coronavirus, but who are desirous of returning home. They will no longer have to bear the expenses of their 2-week quarantine, as the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) have offered to foot the bills. The bills, estimated to be about 1 billion naira, will cover the hostel accommodation and feeding for 3,000 out of the 4,000 people being expected. They were trapped in various countries across the world as a result of global lockdown occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. The federal government last week said it will no longer pay for their stay in isolation due to cash crunch. Already, returnees from United Arab Emirates, UAE, the United States and the United Kingdom are in the country at government expenses. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema, who broke the news during the PTF daily briefing in Abuja on Monday, explained that the FS Bank and the NNPC agreed to pick the bills as part of their corporate responsibility rules. Mr. Onyema said the government was not comfortable asking will-be returnees to pick their bills, but for the policy of funds. He said the funds used for the isolation of those that have returned was meant for something else. On business, with the global economic gradually reopening and easing of supply oil gluts, coupled with the implementation of huge production cut oil producers, particularly the OPEC Plus group, oil prices have begun to rise impressively. The United States benchmark West Texas Intermediate yesterday traded 7.1% higher at $31.80 a barrel, while the international benchmark Brent crude was up 5.1% at $34.40. The combination of supply cuts and greater hopes for a demand recovery, among other factors, are boosting oil prices. Both WTI and Brent outperformed on Monday due to China's stimulus measures, decreasing supply and peak virus hopes, analysts said. They said oil supply cuts are paying off as crude oil prices jumped to a 2-month high on Monday, reflecting output cuts and investors betting that looser lockdowns will boost demand for fuel. According to Reuters, Asian shares crept ahead on Monday and oil prices hit a 5-week high as more countries reopened their economies, steering hopes the world was nearer to emerging from recession. Summer weather is enticing much of the world to emerge from coronavirus lockdown as measures of the outbreak from New York to Italy and Spain gradually lift restrictions that have kept millions cooped up for months. However, incoming data from most economists highlights the depth of the contraction, rising risks of longer-term scaring that might undermine the recovery. And on the international scene, a French oil firm, Oshia SA, has donated 20 ventilators to the federal government to help in the treatment of coronavirus patients in Nigeria. The ventilators were handed over to the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Mr. Bas Mustafa, by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC). Ms. Rose Defense Systems Limited first presented the machines to the NNPC on behalf of Oshia SA. The PTF, according to the statement on Monday by NNPC Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Dr. Kani Obateru, commended the NNPC for its numerous medical interventions in the anti-COVID-19 campaign. Mr. Bas Mustafa said that the NNPC and her partners, almost on a weekly basis, have either donated medical consumables or commissioned medical infrastructure, all in the fight against COVID-19. This is a hallmark of a national institution which at this very challenging time of COVID-19 is filling a gap in the provision of the kind of things that the nation requires, the facilities that we need to put in place. He assured that the ventilators will be put to good use for the benefit of Nigerians, maintaining that COVID-19 was a big challenge. He assured that post-COVID-19 era will see a total overhaul of the nation's health institutions. The NNPC Group Managing Director, Malam Mele Kyari, has said that the corporation was pleased to hand over the ventilators to the federal government. Mr. Kulle Oluko of Maestros Defense Systems Limited praised the PTF for its unwavering efforts to combat the pandemic. Still on the international scene, the World Health Organization, WHO, on Monday has said that it was focusing attention on available drugs vaccine for COVID-19 coronavirus to determine their efficacy. It also said it is still at the information gathering stage of the multi-country solidarity trial, which should ultimately lead to a most effective formulation for treating COVID-19. Lagos, FCT, Ogun, Kaduna, Sokoto and Kano State had recently signed up to participate in the WHO Solidarity Trial to find an effective treatment for the pandemic virus in the shortest possible time. The country representative of the WHO, Fayuna Baraka, made this known during the daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja on Monday. Baraka said the Solidarity Trial is a large multi-country effort that is going on across several countries globally. WHO said they are picking up on the trial in Nigeria. Some states have started while some are yet to start. The whole idea is that the large pool of information across countries will be systematically analyzed at the global level, in addition to what is coming in from other countries. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Governor Matawale pays the state civil servants May 2020 salaries. 216 new COVID-19 cases recorded in the country. President Buhari urges governors to work closely with PTF. On business, oil prices near $35 on demand rise. And in the international scene, French firm donates 20 ventilators to federal government. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, head of news and current affairs department, Ibrahim Gravity, I am Samira Ibrahim, senior executive. Keep watching Standard Voice Television.